Welcome back to another edition of the Gridiron Report. I'm Manny, Navarro, joined by high school sports writer Fernandez. As you can see, we're inside the office here at Deerfield Beach High School. Coach Alan Jackson's office. See the Buckhead, see Denard Robinson. A lot of tradition here, Dre. Big win for them last week. I was here for this game. Knock off Flanagan 14-7 in overtime, but controversial finish.
Yeah, a little bit. The pass interference call, you said came in like about, 10, 20 seconds
You saw the replay?
I saw the replay. You were there, though. You got the full. It's better to be there in person and see it for yourself. But, overall, tremendous game. The coach said that he was a little surprised by Flanagan's physicality. I honestly, from hearing that, I'm not that surprised from seeing them earlier this season. They pushed Miramar pretty good when they played, even though they lost. And it's a young team. Flanagan will be back strong next year. But these Bucks, they keep on rolling. They had an impressive showing against St. Thomas, a good win last week. And they're going to be ready for this showdown. It's been a while since two undefeated teams in Broward played each other in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, almost didn't happen because you look at the first half of Miramar Monarch and it's 13-2.
Yeah.
Monarch leading Miramar. Struggles in the first half offensively for the Patriots, but they did turn it around in the second half and obviously dominated there.
Yeah, Monarch came in with a lot of confidence. They said it during the week. They weren't scared of Miramar, and they proved it. They came out, they played well. Their offense has been really potent the whole season. They got 13 points, which against Miramar is a potent offense because if you look at the way that defense plays, and that's what happened in the second half. I think experience took over. Miramar's been in a lot of these big playoff games before, and if there was any complacency at all, it's out the window now for Miramar. They're awake and they know what's coming. They're ready for this postseason run.
All right, down in Dade County, Region 4, big, I don't want to call it an upset because obviously we knew Columbus was good, but surprising blowout of North Miami last week.
I think the blowout part is the right part because really, I picked North Miami because of the season they had, 9-1.
Yeah.
They were impressive. Their offense, their defense, they had played well. But you know what? You can't substitute playoff experience, and that's what Columbus has. Especially the coaching staff. That year in and year out, they're in this thing. They're not only in this thing; they get a few rounds deep every time. And the key that we talked about that I said was if they're going to beat North Miami, they had to run the football. Well, guess what? Ashton Armstrong went for 193 in that game. They ran for over 200 as a team. And if they do that, there's no reason to think that they can't make it back to the Final Four this year.
Speaking of running the football, Gables, they sit down where the leading rusher in Dade County, and all of a sudden they get a sophomore and they take care of Hialeah.
Yeah, Greg Howell, a little bit beat up by the schedule. I think he's had a lot of carries this year. He led the county and he earned it. But Keno Mike is a very good player. I think you're going to hear a lot about him in the next couple of years because the kid's fast. The offensive line of Gables didn't need to give much of a hole for him to spring loose on Hialeah, and that's going to be something that Columbus has to worry about this week coming up because he didn't really do anything much in the first contest. It was all Howell and Gables defense, but now you put that 1-2 punch back there, and if Greg Howell's back to his form, it's going to be difficult.
Heck of a game this week for sure. Speaking of rematches, South Dade and Killian, they get one. South Dade takes care of Southwest. What did you see in that game?
A whole lot of South Dade offense, but the impressive part was the South Dade defense as well because Southwest's offense, very capable of putting up points. Dre Pickett, White, and those guys had a great year, but they were shut down. And if the Bucks, everybody thinks it's just them lighting up the scoreboard, they're wrong because I think it's a complete team and they're starting to show it.
Class 7A St. Thomas Aquinas handles Miami Springs. We knew that would happen. Yeah. American gave Plantation a pretty good fight, better fight than they did last year.
They did, and a little surprising that Plantation, without Chris Lamons, shows you some depth because a lot of people thought that's all they really were, but they were able to hold off a good American squad, and now they earned their rematch. It was only 16-6 the first time, so if they can get Lamons back and healthy, they'll have a chance again.
Down in 6A, Miami Central takes care of Boynton Beach. The upset special of the week, which, by the way, I called. Dillard knocks off Carroll City. Dre thought it was going to go the other way. Explain yourself.
Well, Trayon Gray. Special player, and to me, still was the best player on the field. The key was Dillard found a way to contain him, to slow him down. They basically contained him in the pocket, didn't let him do too much. I know he had some trouble with the field there, too. It had rained a little bit before kickoff. He slipped a few times. They didn't allow Trayon Gray to be his full self until maybe the second half once they were already down by 21. And at that point, it was an uphill climb for the Chiefs, and they couldn't do it. Credit to Dillard.
American Heritage moves on. They get past their opponent. The interesting thing, Cardinal Gibbons actually played Immokalee tough.
Yeah, even without Peyton Bender. Who knew? They ran the ball well. And I think it's a case, again, where Immokalee is still good, but maybe they're not the same Immokalee team as last year. Remains to be seen. But either way, I think this Heritage team is just, right now, they look like a machine. They look like they can't be stopped. And speaking of quarterbacks, Torrance Gibson's a big reason why.
Of course, in Class 4A, Booker T. Washington, they get the win over Glade Central Saturday night. You were there.
Yeah, Treon Harris back in the lineup, first time in over a month. And I mean, first couple throws, you could tell the timing was off a little bit, but by the fourth throw, he hit his receiver down the middle, and it looked like Booker T was back to where they were at Norcross. 40 points in a row, putting a pounding on Glade Central. And, now we have the matchup we've been waiting for since January.
Against University School 2 defending state champs. That's going to be an exciting game. Let's talk about 3A for a second. Westminster Christian, you were there for that game. Tight finish there with Pahokee.
Yeah, Pahokee showed a lot. I mean, to come out there, 3 o'clock start's not easy ever. But Westminster, what worried me was the injuries. They had Jordan Cronkright, one of their best players. He went down with an ankle injury. Devenair Clarington was hurt for a little bit. He came back in. I mean, they were able to get it done because of their defense, which is not how they've been winning their games mostly. I mean, 10 points is very low for them. So I'm just concerned about the health of this team going forward, because now they have a tough task to go to Cardinal Newman and face Steve Walsh's squad, who's been waiting for years for this kind of opportunity. It's a very evenly matched game, but if they're not healthy, it's going to be tough for the Warriors.
Dade Christian doesn't get their return game against Champagnat, your alma mater. I know they're a little upset about that, but your alma mater didn't play great, but they moved on.
Yeah, they did what they had to do. It was their first playoff win ever, and it's kind of, first round sometimes is just about getting by if you know you're much better than another team and staying healthy for the games that are coming up. And they need to be, because Glades Day, it's still a tough road trip when you go out to Belglade. I don't care, if the team's down and not what they used to be. So Champagnat will be ready.
Well, that wraps it up for round 1. I can't wait to talk about round 2.